Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Soebbing. Today we have a preview of a new quilting tutorial we have on our website, academy.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. In it, I'm going to show you how I combine two really simple stitches that you can learn in our Intro to Rulerwork course and our Intro to Free Motion Quilting course to create an absolute custom masterpiece. These are not hard stitches at all, but when you combine them in a fun way with different textures and directionality changes and thread choices to match our color choices, you end up with something absolutely fantastic. In this video, we're going to give you a quick sneak peek on how I used straight line quilting to work in the background and give you just a tiny taste of what's going on with these loopy meanders. But it is so cool. I love it. It's absolutely fabulous. And you can watch the full tutorial over at academy.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. Now, if you would like to learn how to do the pattern as well, this is a log cabin where half of the strips are 1 inch and the other half are 2 inches finished. And it makes a really cool design. It almost looks more curved than the traditional way of doing a log cabin. It's called Undulation and was originally designed for our Stashin with Stephanie Club. And I never really loved the first version because I felt there were too many low volume prints in the fat quarter section. So we have taken our Alison Glass sampler bundle, which we still have in the shop. These are a lot of sun prints, and we remade it. And all of these really bright prints here became our 2-inch strips, and then all of our low volume prints became our background strips. And they are absolutely gorgeous. They're fabulous. And if you take a look at the pattern, say you already have it, you'll see that these background strips are cut to 18 inches wide. And you think, Stephanie, I can't get that from a fat quarter. I can never get that from a fat quarter because it's supposed to be 18 inches, but it's not. That's not true of ours. So we always cut our fat quarters to 18.5 inches because we know that a lot of times when fabric is rolled from the tube to the bolt, sometimes things get cockeyed. And so we always cut at 18.5 inches because that way you're going to have what you need to be able to do your quilting projects, even if the edges are a little wonky. But that also means that you're going to be able to cut what you need from these strips. And our sample maker just took this entire bundle and was able to get everything she needed out of it in order to make our lap size quilt here. So you can grab the bundle over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com while supplies last. You can take a course on how to piece this and how to quilt it. You can see both how I quilted the original and how I quilted this version over at academy.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. And it is just a really fun pattern, a really fun way to use a lot of threads and get a really custom look, again, with some really easy stitching. All right, so normally you see me starting on the left side, but I was just really excited to get this one going. So I started on the right side right after I stitched on that binding and based it down. So you see I'm using Slim here. This is the one designed by Angela Walters. And I'm using that dotted line to go on that seam line. That way I can stitch right up the center of that 1 inch wide log cabin strip. And my plan here is to kind of go back and forth and kind of outline it. So you're going to see I'm going to go up. And this is where those marks are a fabulous tool to have on this ruler because there are marks at every 1/2 inch. There's short ones and long ones at every 1 inch. And so I'm using that significantly throughout here to make sure I'm stopping where I'm supposed to, so that way I get a nice clean right angle as opposed to accidentally overshooting it and having to backstitch. So from here, I've got the outermost log cabin strips that I'm just quilting straight down the center of. And at this point, we're going to travel just a smidge. We're going to come down so that we can stitch next to the ditch. I press my seams open so there is no ditch technically, but I'm stitching right next to it. You don't really see it. Like I can see one right here and it's barely visible. And I'm using that ruler so that way I know I'm dead center in it because I lined that ruler up. And now I can have those dash marks with that seam below, and that allows me to quilt straight down 1/2 inch right in between where I need to be. All right, so now we're gonna start on the loop-de-loops that are going to be making up the 2-inch sections of the log cabin block. So I always start by bringing that bobbin thread to the top. And I did this basically one thread choice at a time. So you're going to come up and you're going to do a loop. You're going to come off to the right and then loop to the left, right, left, right, left. And you're always crossing in the center. And for me, that worked out really well when I was doing it that way, although you're going to see me go up and down too. So again, we're looping to the right and then around to the left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And you're always just coming into that center. And I found that if I kind of filled the whole space, I was, well, like basically half of it. It was a lot easier for me to keep the loops at consistent size. There definitely is inconsistency in, like, some of them are more fatter, some of them are more rounder, some of them are quite skinny. It really kind of just depends. But you can see I was able to do one section and then I have to tie off my threads and clip them and move on. But it was just so fun. I love how this quilt turned out. And I hope you guys can see that, you know, those little stitches and like all the variations that we teach you when we're talking about, you know, intro to ruler quilting and intro to free motion quilting in those two courses. Like, this is a really great example on how you can use those super basic skills. This is just straight line quilting. This is just a variation on a loopy meander. That's all it is. Very beginner friendly. You totally can do it. But when you combine it with combining those two stitches in the different areas of our quilt, the thread changes, the directionality changes. This looks absolutely fantastic, but we're not doing anything that's too hard. It's something that you can master in our intro courses when it comes to learning how to quilt. So I love this. I always tell people I've got like 4 quilting stitches down really well, and I just, you know, recycle them in different ways and use them in different combinations, and every quilt looks unique. And I love this one. I think it's great. I'm going to keep it. So that's that. I hope you've enjoyed this, and until next time, happy quilting.